What's up everybody, my name is Sawyer Hartman, and one of the worst feelings as a photographer is to spend thousands of dollars on a new lens only to realize it doesn't do what you needed or wanted it to. So today's video is to make sure that never happens to you again. Welcome to the official lens buying guide of 2019. I hope you enjoy. So, the official lens buying guide of 2019, what does that even mean? Well, we have 11 of our favorite lenses to shoot on, and we're gonna show you what they do today, because you might not know. By the end of today's video, you are going to know what all 11 of these lenses do and look like, their strengths, their weaknesses, and what we would personally use them for. That way, when it comes time for you to buy your next lens, you know exactly what lens you want, and you know it'll give you the type of image you're looking for. So without further ado, we got 11 lenses. Let's just kick it off. Our first lens is the Sigma 12-24 f4 super wide angle lens. Now this lens is going to come in exactly at $1,599. It's expensive, but why? Now here's an image of what the lens looks like at its lowest aperture being f4. Just keep in mind for the rest of this review, most of these lenses are going to be sharpest at f5.6, which is why we're going to show you those images as well. The individual lens qualities of the 12-24 are actually similar to that of most ultra-wide lenses. You have an extremely wide field of view, so you can get a very, very wide image. In fact, because the glass is circular on this lens, it actually cuts down distortion on your image almost so it doesn't exist, except for when objects are close to the camera. That is a downfall of this wide of a lens. Be cautious. It will distort anything that gets too close to the actual glass. Our recommended uses for this lens include landscape, architecture, and putting it on a glide cam or dolly or stabilizer and moving it through space because things warp past you. Really cool effect. Now this lens is the Canon 16-35mm f2.8 version 2. Now this lens is going to be a little bit cheaper at $1,400, but I actually think this is the wide angle lens that everyone should have in their bag, unless you need really, really wide, and you'd have to go with the last one. Let me explain why. Now this lens is able to give you a similar wide image to the last one, but now you're at f2.8, which gives you a little bit better of the depth of field. Also lets in more light, meaning you can shoot in lower light. Now the 16-35 is an extremely versatile wide angle lens at 16, and you can zoom into 35 and still turn around and shoot portraits. Now this is the first lens where you will see a huge difference between f2.8 and f4. At f2.8, this lens actually blurs and vignettes in the corners, and at f4, it is sharp from edge to edge on the entire picture. The version 3 actually doesn't have these issues. That's the price of it right here, because I don't know, I don't own it. Now our recommended uses for this lens actually include vlogging on a full frame camera, landscape shots, and travel photography. You can ask around, but our final thoughts are this is probably the strongest and most versatile wide angle lens on the market, and we think most photographers will agree. Our next lens is the absolute powerhouse beast of a lens, the 24-70 f2.8 version 2 from Canon. Now this lens comes in right at $1,600, but it is going to give you incredible images at f2.8, and at f5.6, they're even sharper. Our recommended use for this lens is it's an everyday carry. This is if you're only looking to buy one lens and be able to shoot whatever you could come across, this is what you are looking for. And that's actually our final thoughts on it too. If you're looking for just one lens that you can shoot a ton of different photos on, this is the exact lens you're looking to buy. The next lens is probably the most ridiculous lens that I've seen in a long while. This is the Canon 28-70 f2, and it is massive, and it is only for the new RF mount, or the EOS R family of cameras. And the size isn't the only thing that's ridiculous. This lens costs a whopping $3,000 and feels like it weighs 3,000 pounds. But why does it cost so much? Because honestly, this is one of the most remarkable, incredible lenses I have ever seen. It is one of the sharpest lenses I have ever used, and the images are just to die for. This actually isn't even my lens. This is Clint's lens, which is why I'm like drooling over it at the moment. It's beautiful, isn't it? This lens is a freaking beast. Up next, we have the Sigma 1.4 35mm prime coming in at $700. This is the best bang for your buck lens you will ever buy. The images at f1.4 are sharp and have an incredible depth of field. This lens is one of the best 35mm primes on the market. What would we recommend this lens for? Snapshots, anything with people and a subject. This is actually the unofficial lens of Instagram. All of these images on the screen right now were captured on this lens. 35mm is incredible for capturing not only your subject, but putting your subject in a location and capturing it all as one image. 35mm is a great lens for making memories because it's so close to what your eye actually remembers seeing. Final thoughts on this lens are not only is it one of my favorite photography lenses, and it will be one of your favorite photography lenses too, but it also makes an incredible video lens with sharp, fast autofocus and an incredible depth of field. This is by far the best lens for the price out of this entire list. The Canon 50mm f1.2 RF mirrorless lens. This is one of those new lenses for the EOS R cameras only. I'm sorry everybody, because it's freaking incredible. Obviously another new product from Canon coming in at $2,300. Besides being a 50mm lens, what are the overall lens qualities of this lens? Well, honestly, it is the sharpest lens I have ever used in my entire life. Seriously, you can zoom all the way in on an image and it is still razor sharp. You might ask what you'd use this lens for. Literally anything. Day-to-day photography, portraits, lifestyle, headshots, anything you want. This lens is sharp, it is fast, it has an incredible depth of field, and it is just a pleasure to shoot on. Next we have the Canon 85mm 1.2 that at $1,800 might actually not be for everybody. The 85mm 1.2 is a notorious portrait lens because the lens qualities actually do something quite cool. As you see here, when shooting at 1.2, the blur behind your subject actually starts to take on a little bit of a circular shape. And that is something that really only happens with this 85 1.2 lens, and it's beautiful. It's a very sharp, reliable photography lens with very slow, unreliable video autofocus. That is something to keep in mind. This lens I bought for video, and it sat on my shelf because it really sucks for video. However, one more thing to keep in mind, this lens does have a minimum 3-foot focus distance, so you have to be 3 feet away from your subject to take a photo, or it won't focus. The second to last lens on our list is the Swiss Army knife of camera lenses, the Canon 2.8 L series macro image stabilized. It's a mouthful, but this is one of the coolest lenses you will ever see in your entire life. Now, first off, this lens is only $700, and the images that come off it at 2.8 are super sharp, the most vibrant I've seen, and they're just, this should cost more money than it does. Now, this lens is actually designed for macro photography, and it does it incredibly. However, when you take a couple more steps back and start using it as a normal lens, that's really where it starts to shine. My recommended uses for this lens would be macro photography, portraits, and anything else that you want to take a picture of and give a new perspective to. And literally, I mean, whatever you take a photo of will just look different than it does in other photographs. It's just what this lens does. 100mm is a very odd focal length, and boy do we love it. And closing thoughts are this lens can be used 100 different ways than what it was designed for. This should be a necessity in everyone's bag. It's a Swiss Army knife. The last lens on our list is the Canon 70-200 f2.8 image stabilized L series version 2 lens. Damn, they got long names. This is what you see people use for sports, wildlife, and yes, actor headshots. All shot on this dude right here. Not to mention, actually all of the paparazzi shots that are becoming really popular that people are trying to recreate. This is the lens again that they were shot on. Now, as you can see at f2.8, the images look great, they're sharp, they have incredible compression. It is no wonder why this lens is used by so many professionals all over the world. Now, the focal length qualities of this lens are that of a real telephoto lens. It has incredible compression, the ability to zoom, and most importantly, it makes your audience look exactly where you want them to. And in closing, this is an incredible lens that will be a pivotal piece of gear for a lot of photographers out there. Anyone looking to bring the action closer to them, this is your lens. You can even pair it with a 2x converter and make it 140 to 400 millimeters so you can zoom even farther. But at $1,800, if you're not taking photos of things that are far away or you can't walk closer to, this might not be the lens that you need right away. I really hope this helped you guys. If there's any lenses you think I just completely forgot and missed that I should check out and be using, please leave them down below in the comments. I'm a freaking camera nerd, so I will nerd out with you on this one because I genuinely want to know. I'd love to have to remake this video in 2 months because I found all new lenses. But other than that, if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe. I make new film and photography related videos every single Sunday, and I'd love to have you here as part of the family. As you can see, it is very hot here in Hawaii. If you're just starting your photography journey, welcome. I cannot wait to help you along your path to learning. And if you're a seasoned photographer or an up and coming photographer, I hope you learn something from this channel every single week that could help you make more money and better strides in your career when you're out there working and doing what you do. And I love you guys very much. Until next time, remember, stay motivated, stay inspired, and never stop creating. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.